When I was little, we'd get freighters in every Sunday noon. Now they only come but once a month.
Thank the law. I've been requisitioning backup for months. Guess the boss finally came to his senses. You ever swung a truncheon? Let me see your rifling stance. I want to make sure you're up to snuff. I told Silas I'd pay my dues if he agreed to join the Resistance. Guess this means he's finally heard the calling. The war! The coming apocalypse! Man versus machine! I'm talking about mechanical soldier. Cold, heartless automatons made of iron and lies. Just my luck. I ask for backup and the boss sends me one of them simple folk. All right. Listen real close. Auto-mechanicals. Creatures forged in the fires of malevolence. I seen them over by the old power plant. Clattering about. Firing at the birds. Orchestrating their uprising. When the swarms of mechanicals come clanging on over that hill, where will you be? Cowering beneath your cot? Or standing, shoulder to shoulder with the Resistance? Go on. You ever seen the way a mechanical just stands there? Just looking at you, scanning you with its murderous oculars. Mechanicals have been programmed to eliminate the human race. They've been programmed to replace us. First, they will rob us of our jobs. And once they have taken away our livelihoods, they will take away our very lives.
Got my sights on you.
I've always felt weird in here. It's too clean.
And Ms. Holcomb as well. How rare to see you out. And with a complete stranger. Curious.
Just tagging along, Vicar DeSoto. Don't mind me.
I so rarely get new people to talk to. Name your poison, anything at all. Spiritual counseling, this season's tossball predictions, the quickest way out of town. I've never seen you before, and there's been no paperwork indicating a transfer. Half the time it's wrong, but a new worker without paperwork? Unheard of. Also, you lack the distinctive worker gaze. Usually either a deadening behind the eyes, or in some rare cases, a wild-eyed frenzy, like a trapped animal. Pretty universal here, except for Ms. Holcomb, who for some reason doesn't seem to have much to say to me. Isn't that right?
It's just... there's more to it all than numbers. Sorry.
I'm simply bemoaning the level of spiritual awareness in this town. Yes, but there are few who hear me in this miserable place. I must double my efforts to elevate my flock. These are good, hard-working people here. Yes, and thank you for pointing it out. It is wrong of me to succumb to distress. This place could be so much more, and I will continue in my quest to make it so.
But what? I thought you would talk to him.
You wanted to speak to me, Ms. Holcomb? Every time I've tried to engage you in conversation, you look at the floor, answer in single words, and slink away. I can't imagine what would be so grave as to drive her to my mission. What has Mr. Thompson asked her to do? Depriving them of safety from the marauders and wildlife. I can see why that troubles you. Miss Holcomb has a soft heart. Always has, if you believe the talk. They rejected the order of society and live beyond the walls so thoughtfully provided by our Spacer's Choice patrons. Does that strike you as a responsible life choice? Assuming your goal is to save as many as possible, then you should bring everyone together. Send the power to Edgewater and convince the deserters to return to the fold. Not if things are left to stand as they are. If you don't mind a bit of unsolicited advice, be cautious on your way to the geothermal plant. It is not as safe as you might assume. One of the reasons I transferred here was to fulfill my duty in hunting down banned heretical texts. I happen to know such a book is, as we speak, tainting a collector's library in Emerald Vale. However, the collector's residence lies outside the town's walls. My retrieval efforts have been thwarted by marauders who have overrun the property. Should you fare better than me, I'd pay a handsome sum for the book. I just want to keep the writing out of layman's hands. It wouldn't do for such information to fall into public consumption. It's a handwritten journal. A faded blue cover with the name M. Bakonu handwritten in the lower corner. I'll mark where I saw it on your map. Assuming you're serious? It is not only a beautiful relic of a bygone time, it's also the thoughts of an early thinker on the nature of man's place in the cosmos. Not many in this colony could understand its true value, should they ever read it. Thank you. If you retrieve it, you can always find me here.
Wonder if the plague's ever gonna pass.
You're not a big drinker, are you?
Only the part that said we ain't making our quotas.
I don't know you. Uh-huh. The Unreliable, you say? Never heard of any company supply ship with that particular name. I don't know what you're about, but this here's a Spacer's Choice drinking establishment. We're all loyal, hard-working company folk here. You really think so? That's kind of you. I've been trying to keep the floors clean. You got no idea how long it takes to scrub the tiles. Guess I misreckoned you. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to be curt. We just got some problems lately. I can get you a drink if you'd like. Gotta ask you to enjoy your beverage within the premises, though. Can't risk you bringing a drink over to those deserters. You understand. Traitors. The lot of them. Bunch of folks decided they were tired of working and went out into the wilds to fend for their own selves. Town's already struggling to make quotas. even without that band of slackwits abandoning their posts. Bunch of lazy, shiftless rung leeches. Anyway, enough about them. What can I do for you? Coming right up.
Never seen you here before. You a visitor? Welcome. On behalf of the Spacer's Choice family, let me welcome you to, where am I again? Oh, I ask myself questions all the time. For example, why do we spend money on these fancy latrines when we have a perfectly good wall outside? Oh, it's fine. I'm only on my third bottle. I don't start heaving up my guts as long as I can count to 3. Company lets me imbibe as much zero-G brew as I can afford. Even gave me a discount on account of my injury. You jealous yet? Yep. Got my mitt stuck in a rotor wheel. Shredded my wrist up real good. Conrad went and sewed up my hand, but I couldn't do much about the pain. Boss was real generous to me, though. Got myself a 5% discount on zero-G brew. After the second bottle, the only pain I feel is emotional. Hey, Conrad's a surgeon. Well, he's a barber. That's like surgery, but for your hair.
Had your rations yet?
Yep. 2 whole cans of salt tuna.
I'm not allowed in here. Not since the vending machine incident.
Holcomb, got my eye on you, girl. Miss Holcomb ain't allowed in this establishment. Not since that little incident. Ask her if you care. I'm running a business here.
I won't touch anything while we're in here, Mr. Moreau. I promise.
Go right ahead. What, you mean Edgewater? That's a peculiar question. This a test? Am I being tested right now? It's, fine and dandy. Couldn't be happier. Wouldn't want to spend my life working anywhere else. Prettiest little town on Terra 2. If loving the place I work makes me crazy, then haul me off for mandatory re-education. I don't get paid for banter. Was there something you needed? Go right ahead. Other than yourself? Definitely the vicar. Don't get me wrong. He seems a decent man, cut from church cloth, knows his scriptures. But there's something about him that bothers me. Like he's not one of us. Sometimes I suspect he doesn't even want to be here. Amelia. Definitely Amelia Kim. I advise against stepping foot in her drinking establishment altogether. Word is, they're gonna replace her with an auto-mechanical barkeep. She's... what's the word? Obsolete. You don't want to associate yourself with that kind of person. Plague? I don't know anything about a plague. We are the very picture of hot-blooded physical vigor. You have got the wrong idea about me. I've got nothing that needs hiding. Some of us who get sick are liable to exaggerate the conditions of that sickness, but the fact is, if you work hard, you have got no cause to worry. Spend enough time in the Spacer's Choice family, and you will come to understand. Medical treatment is commensurate with our value to society. Spacer's Choice will dispense medicine for the indispensable worker. Natural selection at work. Then the hand of medical science will not grace you with its touch, and you must recover on the virtue of your own grit. Listen, you mind if we talk about something else? Rambling about company policy gets me feeling all lightheaded.
Another day at the cannery.
Don't go knocking your work.
Keep your distance, friend. Sick house is no place for a traveler.
I appreciate the company and all, but you really ought to leave. You don't want to be seen around me. Because I'm sick. You don't want to associate with people in the sick house. We're not worth your time. I'm in about as much trouble as I can be. No reason you ought to be tarnished by association. People are gonna talk.
I don't mind.
I don't know which company you work for, but if it's Spacer's Choice, boss can still write you up for fraternizing with an incompetent worker. Maybe you don't know this, but there's a real simple reason you don't talk to the plagued. You don't want what we've got.
I've got some training. I gotta take a look at you.
Don't. Please. I could get into a lot of trouble.
You obviously need help.
That's kind of you to say, I suppose. But I don't need help. What I need is to understand my own folly. Company always tells us, weak spirits lead to weak bodies. If I didn't want to fall sick with plague, maybe I should have worked harder. Maybe I should have taken more pride in my work.
That's ridiculous. You can't blame yourself because you fell sick.
I really wish you wouldn't say those sorts of things. I told you once already. People could be listening. I'm feeling a touch faint. If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone for a spell.
I'll leave you be. What's going on with you? A little glitchiness going on there? What the hell? She went a little nuts. And I guess I'll keep following the thing for now. Look at that ridiculous fan cannon. Edgewater, Saltuna Cannery. Spacer's Choice property. From Inhumorous Association. Dear reader, Inhumorous Association does let us subscribe. Would like to invite you to renew the subscription. Theater Granger, industrial access, facility touring grave site 13F. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. What am I stuck on? Shit. Alright, get back to town. What is that noise? That's pretty. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's do these first. Oh, excuse me. Oh, the freaking cannery. I just didn't come this way. Oh. Damn it.
Got my sights on you.
Okay.
You the new worker? Whatever. Make it quick, Tenderfoot. I'm busy.
Gravesite fees. I'm here to collect.
Shit. Silas still on about that. Here, take the fees. I'd appreciate it if you didn't tell Reed I was late on my payment.
These papers aren't signed your name.
Because they're not my fees and not my gravesite. Guy I worked with shot himself. I paid the bill.
That's kind of you, I guess.
I could do without the sarcasm. Wasn't acting out of the goodness of my heart. Law requires delinquent gravesite fees to be paid by the deceased party's closest living relative, which meant me. Shame, though. Eugene was a good worker.
You said this guy shot himself?
Woke up one morning and put a round through his upper story. Can't imagine why. The kid was doing all right at his desk. We all thought he was an upstanding receptionist. Just between the two of us, I'm pretty shocked his weapon didn't misfire. Spacer's Choice handguns aren't the most reliable.
Must be tough losing family.
Eugene wasn't family.
Well, you said you were his closest living relative.
Yeah, I was the closest living person relative to his body at time of death. I'm the one who found him, you see, so I pay the fines. Suicide's a crime. The legal term is irreparable damage to company property. What Eugene did to himself was vandalism.
Vandalism, huh? Did you have to clean bits of him off the wall or something?
First of all, that's a horrible thing to say. Secondly, yes, we did. When one of your workers commits a crime, the entire town pays for it. In other words, Edgewater would have been penalized pretty hard. Whatever Eugene was worth as an asset, we would have had to pay out of pocket to Spacer's Choice.
He was a person, not an asset.
Well, excuse you. I'll have you know, Eugene was an asset to us all. May his atoms be commended to the law. All I know is Silas asked me for Eugene's gravesite fees, which means he was approved for burial, which means his papers went through, which means the town's in the clear. I'm just glad to put this whole ugly affair behind me. Eugene can rest his bones in peace, and the rest of us can get on with our own lives.
I'll let you get back to work. Welcome, Phyllis Granger. Well, with your hard work and positive attitude, I have sanctioned your access to medical treatment in the event of contagion. As you know, the company does not provide us with enough medicine to treat every worker. I wish I could treat every member of the Spacer's Choice family who fell ill this plague, but I cannot. Medical privileges are strictly merit-based. Please do not, under any circumstances, distribute your ration of medication to any other worker while all is together. Personal files last night. Theodore buried last night. Reed asked me not to report his death in our quarterlies. Sounds fair to me. I was asked to prepare a statement or something for the other workers. Been thinking about it. Don't tell them. Don't end up like Theodore. Do your work, show up, wear a smile, and you get your medical privileges. It's a start. Where's the way out of this place? Some kind of freight entrance.
I cut my own hair. But Conrad sells real good disinfectant.
Merciful law. Is that a marauder's outfit? I don't want you wandering into my shop wearing something you've lifted off a corpse. Please don't touch anything. Your hands are probably crawling with germs. Physical hygiene recapitulates moral hygiene. Cleanliness is next to lawfulness.
Relax, I'm clean.
So everyone says, until someone forgets to cough into their elbow, and then we're all dying of plague. I'm Conrad. You will report to me if your hair fails to meet Spacer's Choice aesthetic standards. You will also report to me in the event of your death, whereupon I will clean and prepare your remains for interment.
Silas sent me to collect your dues.
Ah, gravesite fees. Silas and I had talked about this at length. I thought I'd made it clear my pecuniary situation precludes the necessary restitutions.
You mean you're broke?
As broke as pie crust, friend. Bitless, indigent, destitute. I simply cannot afford it. I am a blemish on the prosperity of our fair settlement. When I expire, I expect Silas to toss my body into a ditch.
You have a very loose definition of the word prosperity.
Edgewater is built on the discipline and sacrifice of its people. Say what you will about our town, but we all pull together. Tell Silas I can't afford to pay, and that I fully expect to have my medical rights revoked for this dereliction. With My apologies.
Hang on, medical rights?
Some time ago, I fell ill with the plague. By the grace of the law, and through my own hard work, I've proven worthy of treatment. Frankly, I don't imagine I'll earn that right a second time. Barber work hasn't been profitable, you see. I've had to keep this old place running with my own savings.
Just get Silas an IOU.
Not a bad idea. But I'd need some kind of collateral. My pair of lucky clippers. No, that won't do. Your idea intrigues me, but I'm afraid I don't have anything to give Silas. I'm open to suggestions.
I'll let you know if I think of anything.
Much obliged.
Yes, Mr. Thompson. I'm fine, Mr. Thompson. Never been healthier. Oh, sweet merciful law. A marauder's in my domicile.
Hey, take it easy. I'm not a marauder.
There's a reason you're running around outfitted like one of those monsters? Did Mr. Thompson send you to put the fear in me? Well, you tell Mr. Thompson I'll be right at my post. Tomorrow. Bright and early tomorrow. Because I'm definitely not plagued. As spry as a spring chicken. That's old Abernathy.
You want to tell me what's got you so nervous?
You some sort of wandering alienist? Walking into a man's own domicile, pestering him about his mental state?
So you're Martin Abernathy?
What? No. I mean, I might be. That depends on who's asking.
I'm not looking for trouble. Just here to collect the crazy fees.
Silas knows, doesn't he? That's why he sent me. That's why he wants me to pay up. He knows.
Knows what?
I'm dying. I'm not long for this world. The date of my expiration is fast approaching. And soon I shall be ushered through the great cannery in the skies.
Don't say that, Mr. Abernathy. You still got a couple decades in you.
I'd steer clear, Ms. Holcomb. My affliction's bound to be contagious. It's plague. Has to be. Silas knows. He knows I got one foot in my grave, and now he wants to charge me for the other one.
Oh, pardon me. Sorry to hear that.
You are? Oh, wow. First time anyone's ever told me that. I'll pay your fees. I don't want any trouble from Silas. But if you could see a way to freelancing for me, I could really use the help.
Depends on what you need.
Couple hours out of your day and some light second story work. That's all. There's a cache of anthracillin tucked away in the old community center. Powerful stuff. Stronger than what we got, anyway. I need you to break in, nab that medicine, and bring it back to me.
Not so fast. I've got some questions.
I'll do what I can.
Why can't you just buy some medicine yourself?
I tried medicating myself with Adrenatime. Didn't do much for me, as far as I can tell. Anyway, I can't just buy medicine. Distribution of medicine is strictly prohibited to any workers beneath the acceptable margin of health. Company policy.
In other words, the company won't treat you because you're already sick.
More like the company won't treat me because I'm not healthy enough.
I assume there are guards.
You will not find any guards within sight of that old place. Marauders, on the other hand.
What can you tell me about these marauders?
I have it on good authority. There's a gang of them squatting there. I advise stepping softly.
I've heard enough.
So you'll do it then?
I'll do it.
You oblige me with your haste. I think I feel the plague spreading. Oh, Lord, it's in my spleen now. I can feel it.
Anything I should know about this community center?
Just keep your head down when you're in there. Marauders have taken over. Probably tracking mud all over the archives.
You're taking an awful risk trusting me, you know.
I know that, but I got nobody else to turn to. Reed would have wrote me up. Constable would have locked me up and wrote me up. Could have gone to see the good vicar, but I never did find my courage.
I'll leave you be.
You're making a mistake working for Abernathy.
Where are we headed?
I noticed you mentioned your dad a lot, but never your mother.
That's on account of how I never met her.
You mean she's dead?
I don't rightly know. She was in another division of the Spacer's Choice family. She worked in the Vale a few months, sorting the cannery computers. The contract said any kids she had, expected or not, belonged to her office from the time of conception. So when I was born, I got sent here.
That's inhuman.
It's sensible. Dad just fixed machines. She did some kind of crazy math, high-level stuff. Better to raise me on his time than hers.
You mentioned something earlier that I wanted to ask you about.
You mean about the mission being too clean?
Why aren't you allowed Moreau's store anymore?
There was a kind of a thing, the vending machine, when I was 12.
Did you steal from her or something?
Not intentionally. I've always been good with my hands, right? So I saw a lock on the machine and thought, oh, this must be how they refill it. But I had to know. So I did my thing. And next thing I know, there's a couple hundred bottles of Zero G rolling out the front door and into the road. It's not funny. Right about then, a bunch of loaders came rolling in the gate, fresh off the Saltuna ships. And Mr. Thompson was up on the porch making a speech about how everyone would have to volunteer a third shift to get it all canned. Anyhow, you ever seen an auto loader run over a bottle of Zero G?
Go on.
Exploded all over Mr. Thompson. One bottle after another as the loaders went by. I was just shy of working age, so Dad had to pay all the damages. Moreau's still angry at me. I can laugh about it now, but I just about puked up my guts in terror in the moment. That's the one time I ever made Mr. Thompson look a fool.
You said the mission was too clean. Isn't a church supposed to be?
I know, but Vicker says the universe is a machine, that it runs by law. Real machines have gunked up oil, scratches, and worn bits. You can tell they've seen handling, been used by folk. The machine Vicker sees is one that ain't never been run. It's not for people to live with. It's just something on a museum shelf under glass.
It's an ideal, not what we live in, it's what we strive for. I can't really fully live myself.
I think there's something higher and greater than us. But I don't feel it.
In the bar, you asked if I was a drinker.
Sorry. I know it's none of my business.
I like a drink now and again.
It's not like I'm thinking of failing mine. It's just I live right across the road. Most nights I watch folks out the window. When they come in here, they might be happy or sad. Mostly they're tired. When they leave, they're mad at themselves. Or they stumble into the alley and I listen to their hearts breaking.
Sounds like folk here live hard lives.
Maybe so. But we don't think on it that way.
Well, let's get back to it.
What can I do for you?
You sound like you've had some training. I know a thing or two about medicine.
Oh? Am I in the company of a fellow doctor?
I'm guessing you're trained at medical school?
Experience was my teacher. Experience and... So, you want to be an embalmer. Brochures 1 through 5. Courtesy of the Spacer's Choice Department of Career Development.
I've got some questions for you.
Go ahead.
You seem pretty enthusiastic about this place.
Edgewater has been good to me. I consider myself privileged to work here. I am never wanting for work. Not since the plague started.
What do you know about this plague?
The plague's come at us with a vengeance this year. Lost 6 workers in as many months. I wouldn't call them good workers, mind you. If they were any good, they'd have been treated. Still, it is a shame.
What are the symptoms?
Fever, chills, fatigue, aching, vomiting, an excess of phlegm, a tendency towards belly aching.
What you're describing sounds all like a flu.
Whatever it may be, I have developed my own palliative. Boiled canid liver and a splash of ethanol.
Why don't you treat all your workers?
Company policy, friend. We don't have enough medicine to treat all of us, so we treat the best among us.
Whose idea was that?
Mr. Thompson's brainchild. Have you met him yet? Thoughtful-looking fellow, stares out of his office most hours.
That's all for now. Alright, let's go to Silas. Let's go to Silas, I guess. Companies not pulling their weight or getting knocked down too often. Their gear may not be up to date. Give them strong weapons, an armor, and blah blah. Alright. Sun is coming up.
Hey, Miss Parvati. Come for a visit? Lovely to see you about, Miss Parvati.
Things going all right, Silas?
Been keeping him careful and true, miss.
What are you talking about, Silas?
Best to ask her yourself.
My dad's buried here. Silas watches over him when I can't leave the house.
I'm sorry, Poverty.
Oh. Well, thanks.
Something I can do for you?
Got a question for you. Lose a lot of people to Marauders?
Former people, yeah. Marauders been raiding my graves, you see. Hence the armed guards.
What are they after? Loot?
Oh no. They are after the most precious loot of all. Spacer's Choice Company property. If those Marauders swipe any more bodies out of my cemetery, company's gonna dock my pay.
How long have you been a junior inhumer, gravedigger, whatever?
Hang on, I'm doing some math in my head. 20, 30, carry the one. All my life? Work's been real good to me. Fresh air, exercise. Only problem's the paperwork. Can't get anybody to pay their gravesite fees.
That's all for now. I'm gonna be a dick to you yet. Well, I won't let me mention that to Silas.
Grave digging's a fine profession. Oh, what? You run into any trouble?
Conrad says he can't afford to pay.
Conrad's barbershop is a yawning pit that swallows his every bit. I keep telling him he should cut a few corners. Just get bought on the disinfectant. You gotta put the squeeze on Conrad. Find some dirt on him. Maybe check his back room.
Are you suggesting extortion?
Well, that's the word, extortion. Been on the tip of my tongue all day.
I'll take a look. I can definitely see the Fallout. It feels just like Fallout. It does, but trying to think what else I was thinking that reminded me of. I still get like a kind of a Space Quest vibe to it. The colors and all. Those games are pretty cool. They're like Space Quest meets Fallout. Yeah, I had a third game that was like, that's what it reminds me of.
What can I do for you?
I know about Eugene. Why not use his teeth as collateral for your gravesite fees?
You know about Eugene? How?
I found a note from Phyllis.
Then, you know Phyllis suggested selling off Eugene's gold teeth. I didn't approve of the idea then, and I don't approve of it now. Eugene's golden teeth were a family heirloom, representing 3 generations of poor dental hygiene. He took them to his grave.
I'm sure he won't miss them.
That's unthinkable. Eugene's body and all rare earth minerals contained therein are solely the property of Spacer's Choice. I can't ask Silas to dig up a man's body and pry a few teeth loose from his jaw just to pay my bills. Can I?
Are you asking rhetorically? Because if you're being serious... Ugh, gross.
Desperate measures, Miss Holcomb. Desperate measures. I'm going to have to ask Silas to dig up those teeth. It's the only way I'm paying my gravesite fees.
Are you sure about this?
I'm sure that I have no other choice. Here you are. Gravesite papers affixed with my signature and an IOU.
I'm told Eugene killed himself. What happened?
Eugene was not a suicide. He put a bullet in his brain, yes, but that's largely a technicality. I was the one who prepared Eugene's body for interment. I discovered symptoms of the plague on his corpse, and I discovered medicine in his pocket. Lots of medicine. Eugene overdosed on adrenatime, which is known to cause psychosis and paranoia as possible side effects. Paranoia drove him to take his own life.
That's horrible.
It's a miracle of bureaucracy. If Eugene's death were filed as a suicide, we'd all pay the price for his crime. We can all thank our lucky stars that young Eugene was hopped up on medication and suffered its predictable side effect. I included it all in my official report. I'd like to think I saved Edgewater a great deal of money. We never could have paid the fines associated with a suicide.
Goodbye. Back to Silas. Oh, Silas!
Something I can do for you?
We need to talk about Eugene.
Yeah? What about him?
I wrote a letter from Phyllis. She mentioned digging him up for his gold teeth.
Yeah. Funny thing, Eugene's body ain't where it's supposed to be. The night we were supposed to commend his body to the earth, I had his grave all dug up and ready, right? And so I thought, I'll just rest my eyes a bit. When I woke up, his body was gone. Spirited away. Vanished. The footprints nearby suggested that Eugene was stolen by marauders. Or he rose from the dead.
I'll keep an eye out for them, I guess.
Let me know if you find any. Run into any trouble?
I'm all done. Paperwork, fees, and signatures.
Reliable work from a freelancer. That's gonna take some getting used to.
I went out of my way for you.
And I'll buy you a drink sometime.
I was hoping for something more tangible.
Well, suppose you've earned it. One good turn deserves another.
Abernathy was trying to hide his own illness.
Abernathy was sick? With the plague? That's disgusting. I shook hands with the guy.
He was convinced you knew.
What? No. If I knew he was sick, I would have had him reported. I needed his fees because of his name. A for Abernathy. He was at the top of my list, you see?
Let me ask you about something else.
Yeah?
This town must be in pretty bad shape if it's keeping you employed.
You could look at it that way, I suppose. You could look at us and say, those Edgewater saps lost near every soul to plague. But you'd be wrong. We're survivors. Loyal company folk, braving the wilds.
You're not worried about falling sick?
Every now and again, a virulent plague sweeps through our town. That's life on the frontier, I suppose. A body grows accustomed.
Well, you take care. I didn't see what that said at all. So now what? Do I need to get rest in this game? I have no idea. I think I'm going to call it for right now. I'm just going to try to find a place to let my characters rest. And save it there. But definitely enjoyed this game so far. Definitely gonna be playing some more for sure. For instance, VR to be cool. I wonder if they ever move positions, if they're always in the same spot every day. I don't know what any of that stuff in the corner means. I need a freaking... Okay.
Oh, I almost forgot. I'm contractually obligated to recite company slogans to any visitors. We'll get you mostly drunk at half the price. Spacer's choice.
I'll be on my way. Sure. Sleep for 8 hours, I accept that. Resting on bed is relaxing, and remove it's time for supernova to kill you can only the rest of your bed in your ship. Okay, well, that's fine. I just saw it autosave, but I'm going to save myself on there. Pardon me. Yep. Anyways, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.